Hi, and welcome to the Fortify Your Brain Summit. I'm Betsy Schroeder, your host, and today I have as my guest Udo Erasmus. And Udo is the founder of Udo's Choice Oils, found in Whole Foods and other health food stores worldwide. Udo first pioneered flaxseed oil, and he invented the machinery that brought healthy oils to the marketplace. He is an acclaimed author, speaker, and expert on total health. He has an 8-step process that takes into consideration all the events of whole health that includes our mental health, presence and awareness, our life energy, and being in harmony with nature and humanity. Udo is an accomplished author, including the book Fats That Heal, Fats That Kill, that has sold over 250,000 copies worldwide. Welcome, Udo.
Hi, glad to be here.
Thank you so much. So you're well known for your Udo's Choice oils, and what inspired you to get into the nutrition field in the first place?
Well, there's a long story and a short story.
Okay. How about the short story?
I'll give you the short story. Yeah,
Okay.
in 1980, I got poisoned by pesticides.
Oh.
What happened was my marriage broke up, and I was really upset. So I took a job as a pesticide sprayer. I wanted to kill something, right?
Oh.
So I took a job as a pesticide sprayer, sprayed them very carelessly for 3 years, walked through what I had sprayed barefoot. I was really careless. 3 years later, got poisoned by pesticides, went to the doctor. Doctor said and asked, "What do you have for pesticide poisoning?" And the doctor said nothing. That's when the penny dropped for me. Wow. Oh, my health is my responsibility. And I guess I'm on my own.
Yeah.
And I had background in biological sciences.
Okay.
So biochemistry and genetics. And so I went into the research journals and started reading about nutrition and health, nutrition and disease.
Right.
And I was looking at everything that had to do with physical health. So minerals, vitamins, amino acids, fatty acids, all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. But I got stuck on fats because they were confusing. And people would say, well, fats are bad, but you should take fish oil. And then, but fish oils are fats. And then there was one that really got me was omega-6 is an essential nutrient, which means you can't make it in your body. You get it from outside. You have to have it to live and be healthy. If you don't get enough, your health goes down. And if you don't get enough long enough, you die. This is like really important stuff, body building blocks. And if you bring it back while you're going down, then all of your symptoms of not getting enough are reversed, because life knows how to build a body if you make sure that all of the essential building blocks land in your body so that life can do its job. So I knew omega-6 is essential. That's what that means. Mm-hmm. And then on the other hand, omega-6 gives you cancer and kills you. And it drove me crazy. It's like, how can that be? And when I dug into it more, found out that the way oils are made, they're treated with corrosive acid, corrosive base, then they're bleached, then they go rancid, then they have to be heated to frying temperature to clean them up. And all of that's done to give them a shelf life. Mm-hmm. But you get damage. You get in a tablespoon of an oil like that, you get over 1 million damaged molecules for every one of your body's 60 trillion cells. And I was like, I can't get healthy on oils like that. We should make them with health in mind. So that was the trigger for me. And then omega-3s were established as essential the year after I got poisoned. And I had an orgasm. I said, oh my God, if we could bring them back, we could help so many people. Literally, omega-3s, 99% of the population doesn't get enough for optimum health. Every cell needs them. There have to be a widespread range of symptoms from not getting enough. They're a nightmare to work with. And there are not a lot of sources. And so what we did is I developed a method for making oils with health in mind and started an industry. And flaxseed oil, that is the richest source of omega-3s, was our first oil.
Oh, okay.
And we did that in 1986. We started in 1988. I did a big tour through the United States in a van without air conditioning in the hottest months, sleeping on the floor of the van And it was a crazy tour, but we were so on fire. And we just because we thought, oh my God, it was like finding a purpose in your life. Oh my God, we could, because I like helping. Anytime I can do something that'll make somebody's life better, I like to do that. So that's what started that. And I'm still as excited about it as I was then, except now my topic is much broader.
Right. So do you have any like brain related symptoms from the pesticide poisoning, or what went wrong that?
Yeah, I had nausea, dizziness. So I would call that a brain symptom. Nausea, dizziness, cramps, no energy. So I was 38 years old, and if I walked around the city block, I had to rest. So I was like I was like an old man, right? And then the other symptom that was really strange is if I turned my head, it felt like my head turned, but my brain didn't. Of course, that's not possible, but that was the symptom, right? Obviously, your brain is going to turn when your head turns, but that's what it felt like.
Oh.
So, but the low energy was the biggest symptom.
Okay.
And and then I got involved in other things in health too, but the one that I got stuck on to do full time was oils, making oils with health in mind, and making sure you get omega-3 and omega-6. The only thing that you have to have from oils, that you get them in optimum amounts, in the right ratio, package it in glass, because plastic leaches into oil and does not belong in your body.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So
don't need any more plastic.
So that's the short story.
Yeah. So, and how does the quality of the oils impact the health, like especially brain health? You hear that your brain is mostly made out of fat.
Probably the easiest way to explain it is they increase energy levels. And that means any cell in the body that you optimize your omega-3, omega-6 intake will have 40 to 60% more energy to do its job. So what you're talking about, thyroid, and you're talking about bones, and you're talking about muscles, but also in the brain. And what has been shown in the research is elevate mood and lift depression. They can increase IQ by 3 to 9 points.
Oh, wow.
There's research on that. Yeah. And that's, what, as crazy and complicated as the world is, the more IQ points you have, the more you'll be able to figure things out. I noticed that after about 6 months after I started to take them, I noticed that I could do math in my head quicker. I was always pretty good anyway, and that I would process things faster. And that was really nice.
Wow, yeah, because that's going beyond just healing the damage and actually improving what you started with.
Yeah, and actually they're extremely important in brain development during pregnancy.
Yeah.
And when mothers don't get enough omega-3s and 6s during pregnancy, then the child takes them from her brain. And that's why some people call the postpartum birth. Yeah, there's postpartum,
like depression,
but also they call it baby brain.
Oh, right.
So women forget things, and so because if you don't have enough in your diet, the baby will take them from you. And the reason for that, I think, is because nature says, look, mom's the past.
Yeah.
Child's the future. If we have to, we will sacrifice the past to preserve the future. So the baby gets priority on the brain fats if the mother doesn't have enough in her diet for both her and the child.
Wow. So it really makes you think when you're someone who's pregnant to make sure the fats are optimized.
Yeah, very important. And the suggestion that the researchers have made is that women get chronic fatigue, depression, fibromyalgia, collagen, and inflammatory diseases 2 to 15 times more frequently than men. And the reason for it is that they get depleted by the children in a way that men don't, because men never get pregnant.
Right.
So
Wow.
their recommendation is that women need to make sure they have a reliable source of both essential fatty acids in their diet, both for their own health and the health of their child. They've
Mm-hmm.
also shown that each child depletes the mother further, and they've also shown that each child gets less than the previous child
Oh my.
if there isn't enough in the
Right.
mother's diet.
Wow. That is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible. So you have a book that is Fats That Kill, Fats That Heal.
Yeah, fats that heal, fats that kill. Yeah.
Sorry. Which ones then are the ones that we need to avoid, the fats that kill, and then what are they doing to us?
Okay, so the fats that heal is very simple: omega-3 and omega-6.
Yeah.
That's all you need from anything that has from the universe of fats. That's the only thing you need. You have to have those. If you
Okay.
don't get them, you get a ton of deficiency. Literally everything falls apart because they're used in every cell, and the body can't make them from something else.
Mm-hmm.
And so those two are the good guys.
Yeah.
And then there are other fats that are sort of neutral, like omega 9s are monounsaturated. Saturated, they're okay if you have enough omega-3 and 6 in your diet. If you don't, then saturated fats will make it worse.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah.
even like the famed avocado oil, the omega, that's an
That's
omega.
mostly
Yeah.
9, little bit of saturated, very small amount of omega-3 and a little bit of omega-6.
Okay. So if you're doing a lot of the avocado oil or a lot of avocados, you really want to make sure you're getting your omega
Well,
3s and 6s
but you have some omega-3 in
along with it.
avocado. And
Yeah.
so that's better than sunflower seeds or sesame seeds that don't have any omega-3 at all.
Oh,
And
okay.
so
Those are all
and
omega 6.
a lot of the problems that are blamed on saturated fats
Mm-hmm.
actually come from not getting enough omega-3s, because omega-3s protect you from the damage omega-6 that saturated fats can do when you don't get enough omega-3.
Oh, okay.
So I would say if your saturated fats are hurting you, you need more omega-3s.
Okay. So for people that don't know, like what are the oils that they should be avoiding because they're all the
Okay,
more
anything that's
damaged?
fried,
Mm-hmm.
because fried oils fry health. Fried foods fry health. And I tell
Yeah.
people, get your frying pan, turn it upside down, hit yourself on the head with it really hard so it's
Oh
associated with pain, and then throw it out. And if then people say, well, what can I fry with? Fry in water.
no.
Fry
Oh.
in water. Go back to boiling, steaming, pressure cooking, because you're not burning the food. So you're not making the food toxic,
Okay.
and you're not making the oil toxic when you fry it. Frying is the worst thing for health that we've ever invented in 200,000 years.
Wow.
Really a bad idea. And everybody does it now around the world. I mean, I get to travel quite a bit. Everybody fried. And they're all getting fried, And so that's number one. Number two was the saturated fats. The trans fats in hydrogenated. There used to be margarines and shortenings. That one everybody knows about now because Harvard blew the whistle on it, and now you have to name them on the label, and there are limits to what you can use.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like saturated fats, only worse. They're twisted molecules, and they increase cardio risk, increase diabetes risk, increase cancer risk. You get more inflammation. They interfere with pregnancy or reproduction in both male and female animals. We don't have human studies on that. So they should not be in the diet, and we're pretty much mostly out, except sometimes on airplane food. You don't have labels on what's in the food, and sometimes they use them in prepared, like cookies and stuff like junk food.
Right.
The third one would be the cooking oils, because the cooking oils are between 0.5% and 1% damaged, and those are the oils that have already been heated to frying temperature before they went in the bottle, before you bought them.
Wow.
And they get you, if they're 1% damaged, they will get you over 1 million damaged, unnatural molecules
Oh,
for every one of your body's 60 trillion cells. So there's like 60 quintillion damaged molecules in a tablespoon of oil.
whoa.
That's 1% damaged.
It's bad.
And the reason why that's a problem is that your life created a genetic program, or nature created a genetic program that is active in every cell in your body. But that program was created to adapt you to living in line with nature,
Right.
not living in line with industry.
Yeah, right.
And when industry changes natural to unnatural, your program can't deal with that very well. And that's why every step you take out of line with nature will eventually cost you something in health. Every step and nature's mandate was fresh, whole, raw, organic, and mostly plant-based.
Mm.
That's what it was like
Right.
50,000 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Before we tamed fire, before we invented frying, before we got civilized, while we were living in nature with a lot less protection than we have from nature now. But protection from nature is a double-edged sword. On the one hand, you're safer in the short term,
Mm-hmm.
but in the long term, you're more out of line with nature. And that costs you something too.
Right. Lose resilience and whatnot as well.
Yeah.
Wow. So for the ones that heal, the omega-3s and omega-6s, what kind of foods are we looking for?
Well, there are fats in every food, the way nature makes it. So grass and fruit have very low level. It's like 0.1%.
Okay.
And then seeds, if they're not refined, not seeds, sorry, grains, if they're not refined, 2 to 4% fat. Okay. Beans, about 4%, except soybeans have 18% fat. Mm. And then the rest, the higher level comes from seeds and nuts that are 15 to 65% fat. Wow. And then the fat will be a mixture of saturated and monounsaturated and omega-6 essential and omega-3 essential. Most seeds have virtually no omega-3s. Threes okay. You find a little bit in soybeans, a little bit in walnuts, a little bit in canola or rapeseed. Right. And the only really rich, a little bit in hemp, and the only really rich source is flaxseed, which has more omega-3 than omega-6, like by 4 times more omega-3 than omega-6. And if you take that all by itself as the only source of fat, you will become omega-6 deficient.
Oh, wow.
So, and that's why what we got from flax oil, when I became omega-6 deficient on it, I got dry eyes, skipped heartbeats, arthritis-like pain in my finger joints, and thin, papery skin. Wow. And those are omega-6 deficiency symptoms. Ate sunflower seeds to fix it, because sunflower seeds have a lot of omega-6 in them. Okay. And then developed a blend of oils that is better balanced than flax. Because I was trying to help people, and I didn't like the idea that what I was giving people, flaxseed oil, could actually make them worse.
Right.
So we decided to make a blend that is balanced, still emphasizes the omega-3s, omega-6s with health in mind, so getting people off the damaged cooking oils, mm-hmm. and then made it balanced, so make sure that people can optimize and get the best benefits that they can for every part of their body out of the oils that they take. And that's what Udo's oil is. That was the point of Udo's oil. And the other reason was people would say, wow, this is really complicated. Fats are complicated. And they are. When you get into the details, they're very complicated. And they would say to me, is there one thing I can do that gets me all the good stuff and avoids all the bad stuff? Mm-hmm. The blend was made to answer that question.
Oh, absolutely.
You couldn't do it, and you couldn't do it with flax oil, because it can actually make you omega-6 deficient.
So how do you know if you're deficient in omega-3s then versus omega-6? They have, from an energy perspective, they have overlapping effects.
I think
Okay.
the biggest thing you notice with when you get it right, your skin becomes really nice if you optimize your intake. That's how we measure optimum, because your skin gets them last and loses them first. Because
Mm-hmm.
your heart won't dry out
Oh, yeah.
first. Your skin will dry out, because if your heart dried out, you'd be finished, right?
Yeah.
But you can live with dry skin. So
Right.
literally, the inner organs get preference on the oil, and it only makes it to the skin if the inner organs have what they need.
Okay.
So we measure optimum that way. And if your skin is soft, smooth, and velvety, then your skin, then you're optimum. And that's usually around a tablespoon per 50 pounds of body weight per day.
Okay.
Mixed in food spread out over the course of the day. Some people take twice as much. That would be 50% of calories from fats. And
Wow.
athletes like that because one is skin, and
Yeah.
people rant and rave how nice their skin feels. But you can't do it with omega-6 alone or with omega-3 alone. You have to have them together. They do that together.
Hmm.
So a sign of deficiency would be when you're getting enough oil, but you're not getting the nice skin.
Mm.
You either
Okay.
got too much 3 or you got too much 6,
Okay.
right? They will increase energy by 40 to 60%.
Uh,
That's mostly the omega-3s. So we've worked with athletes, and they exercise to exhaustion doing their sport. And
mm-hmm.
literally within a month of starting on a tablespoon per 50, mixed in food spread out over the course of the day, within a month, they had 40 to 60% increase in stamina for their performance in their sport
Wow.
on
That's
average.
huge.
It's huge. There's
Yeah.
no training program that gets you that kind
No.
of gain.
Wow.
1 month, 90 kilometers, cyclist, 90 kilometers.
So
When it
how,
started, 146 a month later, 90 to
okay.
146. Like,
Wow. So I'm guessing they were putting it in like a protein shake, or how do people incorporate it into
well, we
food?
just told, we didn't want to do anything except add the oil to what they were doing. So we
Okay.
just told them to do what they're doing. You can literally put oils in anything.
Yeah.
Of course, you don't want to put it in the frying pan,
No.
because then but you could put it in hot soup and on steamed vegetables, and put it in your shakes, put it in your smoothies. It literally goes with anything.
Yeah. Okay.
And so we had them just do what they were doing and add the oil to what they were doing, because we didn't want to measure other changes in their diet.
Right.
If
Yeah.
they were taking medications, they stayed on them, and if they weren't taking, they didn't start them. So we made, and we just asked them to make no change for that month,
Mm-hmm.
except to add the oil at a tablespoon per 50 pounds of body weight per day.
Wow. That's results right there.
Yeah, it's huge. It's the most emotional one is pregnancy. The
Yeah.
benefits
Right.
they have in pregnancy. Pregnancies are less eventful. Deliveries are easier too.
Oh.
Children are born more alert, which is an indicator of higher intelligence, because that's before you can do an IQ test on a child. You can't do
Right.
IQ tests on babies.
Right.
But if
Right.
they're exploring their environment and they're active and they're buzzing around and they're
Yeah.
taking interest in their environment, that's a sign of intelligence.
Ah, that's so
Yeah.
neat. So how do you use the oils on a regular basis? What do you put it in?
I usually, what I do is I eat a lot of raw food, and I eat mostly plants, and
Okay.
I like it. I've always liked it, because I don't like cooking. And cooking, you spend all that time in
Yeah.
front of your cookery, right?
Yeah.
And I always think, well, I could be doing more important things with that time. Now, that's
Right.
not to disparage cooks. It's just for me and what my mission in life is. So I've
Yeah.
always wanted to keep it, go to take it out, wash it.
Yeah.
So what I've done is I get tahini. Tahini is sesame butter.
Hmm.
And, when you grind it, then it goes in a jar and it sits for a while, and the sesame oil goes to the top.
Yeah.
So what I do is I pour it out, and then I put my oil in it, because my oil is a better oil.
Oh.
And so that's the main way that I take it. And then I eat my thing where I dip my vegetables in tahini, and that's also a strong protein source. Although all vegetables have proteins in them,
Right.
So, the idea that you have to have meat to get your protein is BS, because a
Right.
cow makes a steak out of grass,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Wow.
so, and everything that's alive, if you eat whole foods, you will never become protein deficient unless you're a bodybuilder on steroids.
Okay. Oh,
So
interesting.
that's the way I usually do it. But literally, it goes with everything. You can put it in hummus, in tabbouleh, salad dressings, uh, on your potatoes, but you always put it on after the food comes off the heat.
Yeah.
I used to put it in miso soup, and it just
Oh,
brings the flavor of miso. The oils bring out flavors, because a
okay.
lot of flavors are oil soluble. So the soup has more flavor. Anything you put it
Wow.
in ends up having more flavor.
Cooking tip. Yeah. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
suppose even a tomato soup after it's been
Oh yeah,
cooked and then you drizzle in
yeah. And in
some oil.
fact, often they put a little olive oil in, or they
Yeah.
put a little butter on it. Well, Udo's oil is better. If you drink coffee, you coffee with butter or coffee with coconut.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, if you put Udo's oil in it, it's better, because
Oh.
you're getting the essential fatty acids, and the omega-3s increase your energy metabolism.
Oh, I like that idea.
And
Wow.
yeah, so it literally goes with anything.
Yeah.
Right?
So
And because omega-3 and those two are essential,
mhm.
that should be priority in your use of fats and oils,
Yeah, over
because
the
those
fasting.
two you gotta have if you want to be healthy.
Yeah, I
And
see.
if you're on a keto
Right.
diet works for weight management,
Hmm.
but long-term not sustainable. Why is that? Because the keto diets do not pay attention to omega-3 and omega-6. If you
That
make a
makes sense.
keto diet
Hmm.
and make sure that the fats you're using instead of carbs
Hmm.
are rich in omega-3 and omega-6 in the right ratio, and you get optimum amounts, then the keto diet is sustainable.
Wow. Yeah, that is huge right now because a lot of people are doing
Yeah. And
keto.
I'm sort
Yeah.
of on a keto diet. I'm not big on carbs. I get fat
Hmm.
really easily eating carbs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Really.
and eating fat suppresses appetite.
Right. Yeah.
And so even though they have more calories than carbs, they actually keep you from overeating, and you get
Yeah.
stable energy, and you don't get blood sugar and mood swings and all of that.
Wow.
So
It's a win-win.
yeah, total win. And you don't get the insulin spikes, and you don't get the fat production. And carbs turn on fat production in the body, genes that do that. And omega-3s turn off fat production and turn on the genes for fat burning.
Oh,
So
excellent.
they literally, so omega-3s do that better than any other fats that are used in keto.
Wow. So you can turbocharge your keto diet if you add the right oils.
Exactly. Turbocharge. I've never used that word, but yes, you should turbocharge your keto diet with omega-3s and 6s in the right ratio, and they need to be not damaged.
Right.
So they
No
have to be
heat.
made with health in mind, and that always gets you back to Udo's oil.
Okay. Wow. Is there anything else you wanted to share? Or I know you have a couple other books.
I have a couple of other books. I have 5 books actually.
Oh.
Four of them are on fats,
Mhm.
and just little versions. And I wrote once recently called "The Book on Total Sexy Health:
Okay.
the eight key parts designed by nature." So why sexy? Sexy is the power word. Sexy is the word that says presence, full on, energized,
Yes.
attractive. That's
Mhm.
what sexy is for,
Yeah.
in street language, not in the
Mhm.
dictionary, but in street language. And the idea is that there are 8 parts. The 8 key parts designed by nature is the subtitle. So the
Okay.
book on total sexy health, the 8 key parts designed by nature. And that comes out of looking at, because I'm working in health, I'm looking around and saying, well, what else do we need to do for health?
Hmm.
And when you start thinking about it, it's like, well, actually everything affects health.
Oh,
Everything
yeah.
affects health. So who you hang out with affects health, and what you're thinking affects health, and how you're feeling affects health. and what you're eating affects health, and whether you exercise affects health, and how you or your environment is and how you are with your environment affects health. Goes on and on and on. So I broke it down into 8 separate parts. Each has a different nature and a different function. Each needs a different kind of attention on a regular basis. Each goes off in a different way, and each responds to a different kind of intervention. And what will come out of that is a systematically teachable and learnable field of health, which is like one of the most basic things we need. But for some reason, in 200,000 years, we've not invented a teachable field of health.
No.
We just guess, right? And it's not working that well.
No.
So the 8 parts is, the first one is called internal awareness. What is that? You can't see it.
Yeah.
It's not physical. So if you close your eyes and you sit really still and you breathe really slowly, and you try to bring your awareness into the space that your body occupies, you will discover that it's very quiet in there. And if you go deep enough, you will discover not only your source and your foundation of everything, but that's where peace lives. And that peace that lives in your core is also everywhere else. Only if you're not connected to it inside of you, you don't see it. So peace has always already been everywhere, but only peace knows that. So you will only know that if you get in touch with the peace inside. And that's what I call internal awareness.
Wow.
First step out of that is energy, life energy. Life energy, it weighs nothing. It runs everything. And it's actually you. See, if I point at you, I'm saying you, but I'm not pointing at you, but if I point at your body and I say, whose body is that? What is your answer?
Mine, me.
Mine. It's my body, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you've just told me that you're not the body.
Oh yeah, you possess it.
Right? You're the owner, right? Just like it's my nose, my ears, my thoughts, my house. There's ownership. So if you're the owner of the body, then who the hell are you?
Oh yeah.
Right? Because we don't go further than that, right? But you've said, I'm not the body. But so who are you?
Good question.
If you're the owner of the body, you are life.
Okay.
And life is energy. And life is the master. Life is the master. Because think about it. Weighs nothing, runs everything, everywhere present in your body. So that's called omnipresent. Knows everything because it's running the show. It's got to know everything, right? Omniscient, and it's all power in your body. So it's all powerful. What is that? That's the master. Whether you're talking about the great masters after whom religions were named, or just simply, this is the master of the body. And does it make sense that you might want to be in touch with the master that has taken perfect care of you every moment of every day through all your dramas and all your traumas and all your crazinesses and all your everythings? Yeah. Does it make sense that you might want to have a good relationship? Not because not because it's going to hurt you, because even if you hate your life, it takes perfect care of you.
Right.
So there's like unconditional love. If you want to look for unconditional love, you're sitting in the space where it lives. Your body is sitting in the space where life is unconditional love for your body, 24/7, 365. And you can, if you go inside with your awareness, you bring your awareness inside. If you get quiet enough, you can actually see it, you can hear it, you can feel it, and you can even taste it. That's number 2. Out of that comes inspiration or inspired creativity. That's you can't be that's part of mind. You can't be depressed and inspired at the same time.
No.
And it's about connecting the energy world to the physical world. That's where your inventions and your originality and your genius come from. That's number 3. Number 4 is the body, food and fitness and detox, and digestion are really the big 4 areas. Next to that is mind, number 2, which is survival smarts. And that's about protection and learning skills and dealing with what comes at you that threatens physical survival. And then outside of that is your social group. And you know that people can make you sick. You knew it when you were a kid, because sometimes as kids, we used to say to somebody who really bothered us, triggered us, say, you make me sick. Right?
Right. Yeah.
So we know that. So choosing the people that you surround yourself with is a health choice.
Right.
And then environment, you know that we came out of nature, and nature is basically our bigger body, you could say. And we depend on nature, so probably we should treat nature with the respect that another unconditional giver. Well, it's not quite unconditional, actually. But nature, all your resources come from nature. Yeah. Everything you need comes from nature, whether it's air or water or food or bricks or metals, right? Everything that we make everything from comes from nature. And it needs to be sustainable, and we're not treating it in a way that is sustainable. So that's another one. And then the last one is the big picture, that you're a little body, which is a terminal condition in an infinite universe. Yeah. And to be okay with that. To live your life both connected inside, aware, and infinite aware. And the best life is when you're fully present in all of your being and your surroundings, and not lost in thoughts in your head.
Oh, yes. That happens so easily.
Well, most people live most of the time that way.
Right.
Right? But when you're fully present, then you do what needs to be done, and you're not having trips about it, and you're saying, oh, I don't want to do that. No, you should do that. No, I want to do something else. You can literally respond to everything that comes at you, comes to you, in a way that is conducive to living a rich life. And there's all your riches. I haven't even talked about the bank. Right? Wow. Bank is just a head trip, right?
Yeah.
So and then the idea is that when you're fully present in all of your being and your surroundings, that is your optimum sexy.
Okay.
Sexy, right?
Yeah.
And each one of those 8 parts confers part of sexy to you. And when you get out of line with it, you lose that part of sexy. And when you get back in line, you get that part back. So that's the model. That's the model of the book on total sexy health, the 8 key parts designed by nature. And literally, you want to live a good life, you got to give each one of those its due.
Oh, 100%.
Is it hard? No, but it takes practice.
Yeah.
It's not hard, but because you get good at what you practice.
Right. And
right.
A little at a time, just keep improving.
Yeah. And so every day I spend some time just getting quiet inside, or going to the quiet inside, because the quiet is already inside.
Oh, it's there. Yeah.
Going there, going to the energy. I live my life by inspiration. What I do is always comes out of that, because it's not interesting to do if it's not out of inspiration.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then all work becomes fun.
Yeah. Yeah, because it becomes an expression of the beauty of existing.
Oh, I love it.
So that's
all right. Thank you.
That's the model.
Yeah. So where can people go to find you and learn more about your products and your books?
Right. So the products, udoschoice.com, you can read about them. and that's UDOSCHOICE, udoschoice.com. And I talk about some of I work with enzymes and probiotics and a bunch of other things as well.
Yep.
And then if you want to talk more about the educational part, that's theudo.com, THEUDO, the Udo.
I love it.
Make it short. It's also udoerasmus.com, but you know, how do you spell that name? So theudo.com. And I'm on Facebook, and you know, I'm not hard to find.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time today. I learned a lot and really, really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you being an amplifier for what I think is a good message.
Yes. Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Great message. Thank you.
Thank you.